Charlie, aka Penguins Zero, aka MoistCr1TiKaL, is suing the U.S. Immigration Department over his Moist Esports team visas. And let me tell you something. After reading everything about it, I don't blame him. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Ring the little bell if you'd like to support the channel. Check out my locals. The link is in the description. All right, so it's true. All of it. Charlie, aka MoistCr1TiKaL, aka Penguins Zero, I'll just call him Charlie from henceforth. He is suing the U.S. Immigration Office. Now, for those of you unfamiliar, Charlie is one of the biggest gaming streamers. He has done comic books. He's has all this merchandise. He also does movie reviews, and he usually operates on Twitch, but he also has a YouTube channel called Penguins Zero. That's mainly where I know him from. I'm not a big game streamer. I always say when it comes to gaming, I'm a total normie, hence why I do my series, A Normie Reviews, about video games. And I enjoy watching Charlie, especially his movie reviews. He's very funny, and also how he talks about YouTube drama and stuff like that. He covers a swath, but his main point of action is he plays video games while streaming. And I think that's pretty cool. Well, he is really involved in esports, and he has his own league called Moist Esports. And basically, he and his people have recruited players from all over the world, and they were supposed to come to the United States to do a tournament, I believe, for Apex Legends. And the U.S. Immigration Office was being a total pill about it, so much so that Moist Esports had to dump the team just so they could get in. And they rooted for them and everything, but they were no longer officially a part of Moist Esports. As a result of this, Charlie has decided to take legal action. So this is according to Dexerto. MoistCr1TiKaL has been vocal in his disdain for the U.S. Immigration Office and his difficulties with getting his Moist Apex Legends roster into LA. With the ALGS Year 4 Split 1 playoffs happening in person, getting his team into the U.S. was essential. He was able to skirt difficulties with U.S. immigration during qualifiers by bringing his players into Canada to play online, but he was eventually unable to avoid their visas into the U.S. being denied. In order for the team to apply for another visa, he had to drop the roster, which comes with a whole host of issues. As a result, MoistCr1TiKaL and Moist Esports as a whole are suing the immigration office. We, Moist Esports, are suing U.S. immigration. We talked with our lawyers, and they agreed that this is very mysterious how it ever even got to this point. It seems that there are quite a few no-nos that were committed here and some protocol that wasn't followed. A lot of big red flags, big problems, Charlie claimed in his video on the topic. Additionally, though he's used a thinly veiled not Moist Esports moniker for the team, they still aren't technically represented by him. Moist Esports lose any cuts of the winnings and aren't allowed to work with the team as they'd like, resulting in financial losses. Despite this, the team still has a ton of affection for him and Moist Esports and how they've helped the team despite taking financial losses to do so, as explained by WXLTZY in a post-game interview. I'm guessing that's one of the players. Just big love, man. Cannot stress enough how accommodating he has been for us. Genuinely, everyone at Moist has been a rock for us. This was a very stressful situation, and they've done the absolute most for us. I can't say thank you enough. Despite the team itself doing well at the LGS LAN, Moist Esports isn't likely to see direct money from that success. The whole debacle has cost the organization a lot, according to Charlie's claims. Though, as he'd go on to explain, it isn't possible to claim damages within the lawsuit against U.S. immigration. You know what I've learned through the lawsuit process? It turns out that there is corruption built into the U.S. Constitution itself, where even if we're successful in beating U.S. immigration in this lawsuit, they cannot pay us out any damages, in which there has been a lot, MoistCr1TiKaL asserted. This has been a super expensive process, and there's also so much lost income here because there's so much money on the line for the tournament, as well as so many potential eyes on our organization, as well as all the legal fees. There's so much money that went into this, all of which was burned thanks to U.S. immigration bleeping us. He went on, he didn't say bleep, by the way. He went on to call out the way the entire office works, outright blaming the agent responsible for his player's case for mishandling it and claiming he was stunned by how deep and rotten the system is. It is so bleeping broken, it is a joke. Despite all this, and his players having to make multiple lengthy flights through this process, leaving them unable to practice for weeks, according to Charlie's account, the Moist Esports squad is cleaning up house at the LGS LAN. So go ahead and go to Dexerto and read the whole article for yourself. But good for Charlie. It is a shame how the government always shields itself from responsibility. So you read it right, or I read it to you right there, right? So even if he wins this lawsuit, the federal government can't shell out money. Now he says there's a constitutional problem. I don't see a constitutional problem with the government being forced to pay back cash that they lost. It's always so fascinating to me. You hear stories about this all the time. Farmers, homeowners, business leaders, or CEOs, whoever they are, man or woman, if the government finds a chance, whether it's through the National Labor Relations Board, whether it's through the EPA, whether it's through the ATF, the IRS is a big weapon. They find a way to harm you. They are supposed to be serving you. They are your employees, our taxpayer dollars. And I know Charlie, he talks about, all the financial losses for this. He probably lost a ton of money from this, lack of accountability going on at U.S. immigration. And it just goes to show you how much harm the U.S. government can do to you. And see, this is why, this is what frustrates me about it. There's no recompense. In my opinion, in my assessment of reading about the situation, it seems to me that he is right about everything, and that I believe the government should pay him back for the money that he lost as a result of him being unable to participate in his own team's triumph. It's absolutely preposterous. All of the red flags, all of the red tape that they make people jump through. Now, I heard him explain in one video, and his lawyer agreed that he thinks it was because of the name Moist. That's their league name, Moist Esports. Now, that comes from his Twitch handle, right? MoistCr1TiKaL. They're all the boomers over there seem to think that there's some sort of weird connotation to it, and I'm sure maybe there is, but that's none of their business. Moist can just mean that the bread was moist. It could just mean that it was moist after coming out of the microwave. It was moist after I cooked it. It was moist after I left it out in the rain. But no, all those boomers, they have to wag their finger. And it's not just the current administration. The previous, the previous, and the previous have all done stuff like this to just ordinary Americans who are just trying to make it in their life. And I would suggest, if the name is an issue, and especially the government doesn't forget, people forget about the things the government does, but the government doesn't forget. If Charlie does sue them, even if they're successful, this could happen again to him. I hate to say it, maybe he should change his name from Moist Esports, maybe to Penguins Zero, which, like I said, is his YouTube name. Change it to Penguins Zero Esports, although I'm not sure if that would deter it. Like I said, I agree with his explanation that it was the name. Now, that aside, I totally support Charlie in this endeavor. I wish more people would sue the government and maybe get the laws changed where you can get paid back for the loss of wages, for the loss of winnings, whatever it is. Like I said, I hear stories about this all the time, about how all of these 3-letter alphabet soup agencies just have nothing better to do than to, instead of going after cartel members or mobsters or serial killers and murderers, they just want to go after me and you. Listen, I am full American. I'm proud to be an American, but our government is frustrating. It is, and it's really annoying. And good for Charlie for standing up to them and saying enough is enough. Even if I can't get payback for all the money you cost me, I am still going to take you to task. I'm still going to take you to court. Good for him. Godspeed as far as I'm concerned.
'Cause I've been living life